the criminal agreement and acts to affect the object of the conspiracy. Trump's use of deceit to get state officials to subvert the legitimate election results and change electoral votes. Shortly after Election Day, which fell on November 3rd, 2020, Trump launched his criminal scheme. On November 13th, Trump's campaign attorneys conceded in court that he had lost the vote count in the state of Arizona, meaning, based on the assessment Trump's campaign advisors had given him just a week earlier, Trump had lost the election. So the next day, Trump turned to co-conspirator one, whom he announced would spearhead his efforts going forward to challenge the election results. From that point on, Trump and his co-conspirators executed a strategy to use knowing deceit in the targeted states to impair, obstruct, and defeat the federal government function, including as described below.
Arizona. On November 13, 2020, Trump had a conversation with his campaign manager, who informed him that a claim that had been circulating, that a substantial number of non-citizens had voted in Arizona, was false. On November 22, 8 days before Arizona's governor certified the ascertainment of the state's legitimate electors based on the popular vote, Trump and co-conspirator one called the Speaker of the Arizona House of Representatives and made knowingly false claims of election fraud aimed at interfering with the ascertainment of and voting by Arizona's electors as follows. Trump and co-conspirator one falsely asserted, among other things, that a substantial number of non-citizens, non-residents, and dead people had voted fraudulently in Arizona. The Arizona House Speaker asked co-conspirator one for evidence of the claims, which co-conspirator one did not have, but claimed he would provide. Co-conspirator one never did so. Trump and co-conspirator one asked the Arizona House Speaker to call the legislature into session to hold a hearing based on their claims of election fraud. The Arizona House Speaker refused, stating that doing so would require a 2/3 vote of its members, and he would not allow it without actual evidence of fraud. Trump and co-conspirator one asked the Arizona House Speaker to use the legislature to circumvent the process by which legitimate electors would be ascertained for Biden based on the popular vote and replace those electors with a new slate for Trump. The Arizona House Speaker refused, responding that the suggestion was beyond anything he had ever heard or thought of as something within his authority.
On December 4th, the Arizona House Speaker issued a public statement that said, in part, no election is perfect, and if there were evidence of illegal votes or an improper count, then Arizona law provides a process to contest an election, a lawsuit under state law. But the law does not authorize the legislature to reverse the results of an election. As a conservative Republican, I don't like the results of the presidential election. I voted for President Trump and I worked hard to reelect him. But I cannot and I will not entertain a suggestion that we violate current law to change the outcome of a certified election. I and my fellow legislators swore an oath to support the U.S. Constitution and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona. It would violate that oath, the basic principles of Republican government, and the rule of law if we attempt to nullify the people's vote based upon unsupported theories of fraud. Under the laws that we wrote and voted upon, Arizona voters choose who wins, and our system requires that their choice be respected.
On the morning of January 4th, 2021, co-conspirator 2 called the Arizona House Speaker to urge him to use a majority of the legislature to decertify the state's legitimate electors. Arizona's validly ascertained electors had voted 3 weeks earlier and sent their votes to Congress, which was scheduled to count those votes in Biden's favor in just 2 days' time at the January 6th certification proceeding. When the Arizona House Speaker explained that state investigations had uncovered no evidence of substantial fraud in the state, Co-conspirator 2 conceded that he didn't know enough about the facts on the ground in Arizona, but nonetheless told the Arizona House Speaker to decertify and let the courts sort it out. The Arizona House Speaker refused, stating that he would not play with the oath he had taken to uphold the United States Constitution and Arizona law. On January 6th, Trump publicly repeated the knowingly false claim that 36,000 non-citizens had voted in Arizona.